Yo, what is up, you guys? Hope the party, and like every day is your birthday because we got another one for y'all today. And today we got a video that a few of you all talked to me about. We have the Cyberpunk anime is actually incredible by Gagook. A bunch of y'all were telling me that this Cyberpunk anime was pretty fire, and you know we're gonna start posting on the BdayReacts channel again. So I was thinking it would be cool to watch this, and if I like Gagook's video and I think the anime looks pretty cool, I'm gonna check out the anime, and that's what our next BdayReacts is gonna be on. So without further ado, let's hop into this video and see what we're working with. Oh my god.
Where the fuck did this come from?
Seeing the explosion of anime in the past 10 years was bloody exciting if you were an anime fan before. Suddenly, this niche little medium you loved will start
That's
to
what I'm saying, bro. These past few years, anime has gotten huge. I've said it once, I'll say it a million times. The art of media. TikTok, I think, is a huge impact on anime. Same with YouTube.
Where did this come from?
Seeing the explosion of anime in the past 10 years was bloody exciting if you were an anime fan before. Suddenly, this niche little medium you loved was starting to get noticed by a wider audience, and that was a good thing, because this must have meant so many more great anime that would have never been made before might just be on the horizon. The small, fan-run companies we followed got an injection of money they needed. Big players were starting to get into the game. There was so much potential for cool
Netflix
projects,
started
so much
doing the
promise of
anime
medium
too.
being taken to the next level. It was hectic. It was exciting. The possibilities seemed endless.
Dang.
And what did we get?
We've been preparing our whole lives for this day.
One thing we did get was more
Chad.
anime, but that didn't necessarily mean that was more great anime. The shows you wanted to watch were split across
Actually,
a
I've never
million
seen that
different
anime, so I
streaming
can't really
platforms,
say.
and some of the shows you were excited for had all their possible hype killed when the wrong platform picked it up. This wasn't on the fine print of the expectations we had, but every so often there comes along a project that makes me remember, alright, maybe anime getting worldwide recognition wasn't such a bad thing after all.
Dude, is this the
Edgerunners
Cyberpunk
might be one
one?
of the most exciting collaborative projects I've seen in years, coming from Studio Trigger and CD's Nuts.
Hey, there's been a no way these people are actually called CD's Nuts before he even says the name. But y'all, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, there's been a lot of really cool adaptations with stuff. Remember the game, the Arcane? That shit was fire, and it was an adaptation from a game. So if Cyberpunk's anything like that, this is gonna be a top tier show.
The most exciting collaborative projects I've seen in years, coming from Studio Trigger and CD's Nuts Project Red. This was the type of project
There's
we
no
were
way that's
waiting
actually
for.
a
Following their
project's
very
name,
successful launch
CD's
of
Nuts.
Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red obviously saw potential for more stories to take place in the world they had crafted, and in the process might have accidentally made one of the best things to come out all year. Continuing this unexpected but wonderful trend of animated video game adaptations slapping harder than an Asian parent who's just been given a bad report card. That's right, guys. I'm a real gamer. Not because I play them, but because I watch them. Which is the perfect time to
it's
talk
a
about
new
today's
gaming
sponsor,
era.
Honkai Impact 3rd.
Hey, shout out to Honkai, bro.
Oh, what the
I
hell
used to
does
play that, or used to
Honkai
watch their
Impact 3rd is
videos
an
all the
anime
time.
game
I
from the
remember that.
developers at Hoyoverse, which is a company I've never heard of.
Damn, it has been a minute since I've done YouTube, bro. I miss doing this stuff. No, I'm gonna get on my grind, y'all. Next Saturday, this Saturday, we're having a review, and I'm gonna start posting reviews every week. I'm gonna start posting shits every week, and I'm gonna get my shit with my shit right when I'm doing my shit.
And
Just
I'm totally
know.
not familiar
Just
with.
know.
Why are you looking at me like that? This is a stunning,
my fault, bro.
exciting action RPG with addictive gameplay and top-tier girls, available on PC and mobile. And honestly, the story's pretty damn good too. No cap. Right now, Honkai Impact 3rd's version 6.0 just dropped with new characters.
Oh, bro, shout out to Honkai Impact, but like,
Download the game today, and you can
Sweet.
use the code on screen right now to get 30 Crystal, 2,888
30 Crystal?
Asterite, and Herschel
Asterite?
Guard for free.
Thank you to Honkai Impact 3rd for sponsoring us today. And now, back to Cyberpunk.
Sounds like a
Cyberpunk
good deal right
Edgerunners
there,
is a
man.
canon side story in the Cyberpunk 2077 universe, taking place in the future in the dark, gritty, violent dystopia nightmare called the United States of America. And
That's
Night
the
City.
US?
David is a kid just trying to survive
Whoa,
in the
look at
city,
that
attending a
city.
prestigious school being supported by his mum despite her struggling income. But after getting into a massive car accident, David comes to to find his mother has passed away because she couldn't afford proper
Oh my
healthcare.
God,
Anyway,
that shit
guys, was
turned
a
me
joke. That was a
on. That
fucking
shit is
joke.
so
You weren't meant to take
sexy.
that seriously. From there on, he has to resort to a life of crime, meeting Lucy, a skilled cyber hacker, and her fellow gang members. He joins their crew, taking on missions so they can survive together in the underbelly of Night City. Alright guys, I've got a confession to make. I
What's
am
the
not
confession,
actually
man?
a gamer. I lied before. I don't play video games.
Think you can get away?
Shut up. I hadn't played Cyberpunk 2077 yet, and my only prior knowledge about it was that
Yeah, I heard it was a good game and I was gonna get it, but then it ended up being
the
trash.
game was a
so.
little buggy. So I went into this completely blind, and while I'm sure I missed some Easter eggs here and there, it did not ruin my enjoyment at all. The world of Night City is stunningly brought to life under Trigger's eyes. Neon lights illuminate the concrete jungle with a fluorescent color palette. You can smell the stench of stale piss reeking from the back alleys. Every random passerby feels like they have a
Dude,
story
this
to
is
tell.
gonna be
I think
awesome.
people forgot that beyond the glitches and T-posing, CD Projekt Red actually crafted a truly vibrant world with so much potential for interesting stories to take place. Edge Runners might not have Keanu Reeves, but it does have—
Whoa, is it called Cyberpunk because he's a cyberpunk? I didn't know dude was actually cyber.
so much potential for interesting stories to take place. Edge Runners might not have Keanu Reeves, but it does have this guy.
I do not pay you to think. I pay you to check the boxes off my list.
Wait a minute.
Damn, he got
Is
3
that my
eyes.
man Gus from Breaking Bad?
But you can call me sus.
The first thing anyone will probably notice is Studio Trigger's footprint stamped all over the show. You know, as much as I like Trigger, recently when I saw their name attached to a project, especially if it was being led by this man, Hiroyuki Imaishi, I was starting to think I was watching a one-trick pony. I remember the first
Damn,
time
you
I
don't
saw
like
Gurren
Hiroyuki
Lagann, I was
Imaishi?
blown away by the sheer absurd, over-the-top hype contained in it. Then I saw Kill la
don't really know
Kill,
who
and I
that
was
is,
slightly
but
less blown away
what's
by
up?
the sheer absurd, over-the-top hype contained in it. Then I saw Promare, and I was puffed away by the sheer absurd over-the-top hype
Puffed,
contained in it. And then I saw they were doing an episode of Star Wars Vision, and I was like, is there going to be some sheer absurd over-the-top hype contained in this? Yep. There it is. Now, did Edge Runners have some sheer absurd over-the-top hype contained in it? Yes. But it was actually kind of muted in comparison to all that other stuff. I mean, this may look ridiculous to you, but this is just the standard driving experience in India. There are still flashes of that classic balls-to-the-wall Trigger hype, but I feel like they had to restrain themselves a bit more than usual due to this being a canon story in a pre-existing universe. But because of this, they needed to find more creative ways to up the ante aside from going into space. Going into space. Going into space. Or my personal favorite, going into space. And I feel like by restricting them, you got to see a whole new side shine through. Oh, for fuck's sake. This, in my opinion, is one
Damn,
of their
not
best looking
more
shows
space,
to date.
man.
The gunplay on display is absolutely insane.
Hey, but I like space,
David
so
has
I'm
the
fine with
special
it.
ability to go
Just
bullet
saying.
time, creating an army
I
of
don't know this. I don't know this. I'm a space G. I'm a space kind of guy. I like looking at the stars, bro. Real shit. Every night, y'all, when I come home, I look up at the sky and I'm like, damn. That's just beautiful. The past like 2 or 3 days, y'all, after the hurricane, there was like no moon, no clouds, and the power was out all around me. So the sky was crazy beautiful. Not even gonna lie. That was a plus about the storm. You know, the storm was shit. And like that shit was devastating. But if there was one good thing that came out of that storm, the sky was beautiful.
after images for every movement he makes, which melts my mind every time I see it. But most notably, this is the first time I've seen them tackle an old school hyper-violent show, and you could tell they had so much fun breaking all the shackles that usually limit them. Bodies get blown apart in an explosion of bright red blood, intestines go flying out, bits of skull and eyeballs
Holy
rain down
shit,
with every
this is
shotgun
gonna be
blast.
awesome.
Seeing this type of hyper-violence being done with the Trigger flare was a brutally beautiful sight I didn't know I needed until now. Trigger were already the masters of giving their shows a unique visual identity, but I feel like even here, everything was polished and sharpened to a level even further beyond. I remember the first time I booted up Persona 5, I was enamored by just how much work must have been put into its aesthetics. The striking color palettes, the battle animations, the text messages, even the individual menus, everything down to the smallest details seemed to be meticulously crafted to fit this visual style. It was just so fucking cool, and this is the exact same feeling I get when watching Edge Runners. Every frame is oozing with a visual flair most shows could only dream of achieving. There were some scenes with so much going on, it felt like my brain couldn't process all the stimuli it was receiving. This wasn't the rule of cool. This was the rule of fucking cool, and it was so refreshing seeing—
Dude, I'm saying, y'all, I'm gonna watch this, bro. And it's gonna be fire.
detail
I
seemed
could
to
already
be
tell you, this is gonna be
meticulously
such
crafted to
a
fit
fun
this visual
review.
style. It was
to
just
do.
so fucking cool, and this is the exact same feeling I get when watching Edge Runners. Every frame is oozing with a visual flair most shows could only dream of achieving. There were some scenes with so much going on, it felt like my brain couldn't process all the stimuli it was receiving. This wasn't the rule of cool. This was the rule of fucking cool, and it was so refreshing seeing this team's insane creativity being pushed to a level I hadn't seen before. Then we got the soundtrack. You know how in most anime you got your normal background
background music, then during the season finale or some shit, it'll hit you with a special insert song they've saved up just for this moment, and it's beautiful. It elevates the moment, and it kind of feels like it turns the scene into a narrative music video.
That's a tasty ass
Cyberpunk
beat,
has that
bro.
for like every episode. This OC is just overflowing with such fantastic
Really?
tracks
Every
that at some
episode?
point I feel like they
Okay, bro. No, on this review, I'm coming in with expectations of a fire track. So I expect if it's anything but heat, I'm gonna be disappointed. Cause y'all know I love my music, bro. I love my music. So
had too many
space
to
and
work with.
music,
There'd be a
man. Just my
throwaway
two
scene of just two
things.
characters talking, and I'd be like,
Only gonks talk down others.
And
Shut up for a second.
you know what I'm
Can we
saying?
turn this
Other
music
shit with the
up? The
eyes.
song's kind of a banger.
from synthwave
watch
to
this
metal to electro to fucking reggae. So many scenes felt like I was watching a stylistic music video. It was like I was watching Fooly Cooly all over again. And then there's the writing.
So you guys are cyberpunks, aren't you?
Oh, they're mobbing! He's going full mob! Out of everything, this is probably the least strongest aspect, but I'm only saying that because everything else was absolutely stellar. Sure, there were some awkward pieces of dialogue here and there,
I'm built different.
Bro, I'm a different breed. Of what?
I'm
Chill?
built
but honestly,
different.
everything was solid and did what it needed to do. I've seen a few
Yeah,
complaints
that's
saying
definitely
that
a
there
nice
wasn't
one.
enough runtime and it kind of felt rushed, but I didn't get that feeling at all. To me, it didn't feel rushed, it just felt dense. This is 10 episodes, packed to the absolute brim. From start to finish, the series rarely gives you a chance to catch your breath. Shit's constantly going down.
That's my kinda
Situations are
show.
always
I'm gonna love
evolving.
watching
While it
this
would have
shit.
been nice to have an extra episode or two with a bit of downtime here and there, never once did it feel like a major story beat wasn't earned. And yet, even through everything, they still found time to make a standout episode. Episode 6 might be one of the best episodes of anime I've seen in years.
Whoa.
From the opening seconds.
Whoa! We're talking big shit right now. So that means my expectations are high for this, you all. If Gagook's saying that with all the anime shit he's seen, my expectations are very high for this anime. This needs a 9. I'm going to start getting more strict on my ratings, by the way. I'm a little too loose. I'm a little too loose with my ratings. No, I'm tightening up my ratings. We're going to tone in. The other ones were good, but I didn't like judge as much. No, I'm finna start judging a little bit more. But at the same time, I'm the type of person that enjoys pretty much every show, dude. There's really not a lot of shit that I watch and I'm like, eh. Sometimes, but not all the time. That shit made me, But, I think this is going to be a fire show. So I had pretty high expectations, but like I said, no, I'm going to tune in my grading scale a little bit on my next reviews.
Be one of the best episodes of anime I've seen in years. From the opening seconds, something feels off. The air feels heavy. You find yourself being on edge. Everything is draped in an air of unease and you can't put your finger on exactly why, like you're standing in the eye of an unseen storm. And what follows is a 20-minute psychedelic trip down into insanity that simply left me speechless by the end. It was an absolute masterclass of direction and cinema, and it's episodes like this that reminds me why the medium of animation is so fucking incredible. Even with a shorter episode count, it didn't affect how invested I was in everything. It's been a while since I've seen an ensemble that left such a big impression on me so quickly. Everyone feels memorable
Whoa.
without feeling like they're just a walking trope.
Bro, if
From
I was a
looks to
server and I could
personality
do
to
that,
attitude,
if I was a server and I could do that, bro, how is my camera full, bro?
everyone feels memorable.
God. Shit. Alright, y'all, sorry about that. Like I was saying, at my server job, imagine if I could pull some shit like that out. I'm getting insta hella tip. If I could do something like that.
Without feeling like they're just a walking trope. From looks to personality to attitude, each character is totally distinct from one another and have this group chemistry that's infectious. Maine walks in as the charismatic father figure of the group. David's that eager younger brother. Rebecca was one of the more minor characters, and yet with just a few scenes, she was able to leave a stronger impression than most characters do with hours of screen time.
Oh, David, my man, what's going on?
It's series like this that shows you don't need hours of backstory to get attached or like a character.
This is gonna be
Everyone
fire.
felt like they were a part of this dysfunctional family and there would be a gaping hole without them there. And you get just
wish
as
we had a
emotional
punching
when
bag.
some of the
Can you
major
imagine?
events
That'd be a
happen.
good time.
Watching this reminded me of the feeling I got when watching Cowboy Bebop. I didn't need Spike, Faye, or Jet's backstory to get attached to this crew. I already was way before their respective episodes, because it was just a pleasure to spend time with all of them. You never wanted their journey to end, but you knew it had to eventually. And when it does, you're left with this
bittersweet feeling of emptiness, knowing that you've had to say goodbye to your time with them.
You're the guy who jumps into the fire to rescue someone. Anyone. Even when you know you're gonna get burned.
Cyberpunk Edge Runners is an example of what happens when you give a team gone mad with creativity the resources to do what they want to do.
There's a lot of people with good ideas that just don't have the resources,
every
man.
single
It's
person
heartbreaking
working
to
on
see.
a project gives a shit. You can feel the love and excitement emanating from every single second of this runtime because absolutely no one half-arsed it. Everyone brought their A game, not a single person phoned it in. It's as much a passion project as it is a promotional piece for a gaming franchise everyone had already written off.
This is gonna make
was the project we were
Cyberpunk
promised
huge
when anime
again.
started to get more recognition globally. The prospect of some of the most talented names in the niche medium of anime we followed getting to go wild with some of the biggest names and franchises from a totally different medium was meant to give us more shows like this. And I hope that this isn't just the exception, but the standard for future collaborative anime projects to come. Bravo, guys.
Damn, man. I cannot wait to see this. My expectations are pretty high, though. The group talking this one up, man.
Not a single T-pose, 0 out of 10, worst adaptation of all time.
Not a single T-pose. This looks beautiful, man. Damn, man. I'm excited. I'm excited. Let me know in the comments what you all think about this. Like I said, the next review this Saturday is going to be that new Jeffrey Dahmer Netflix series. I'm watching that right now. That shitty. You gotta be PG or rated R, you know what I'm saying? That shit is another level. It is weird as hell in another level. It's gonna mess you up psychologically, but that shit is crazy. That shit is crazy to dip into the mind of a serial killer. That shit is crazy. But it's like some Criminal Mind stuff. But let me know what you all think about this review, and if this is something you all want to see. But it's definitely something I want to see. So without further ado, you all have an amazing rest of your day, because this was the last video. We just recorded 6 today. I might even record some tomorrow. It's my first day off in 4 months. Well, I guess the hurricane, I didn't have work for a day. Yeah, I didn't have work for a day during the hurricane, but I didn't request off on that. But y'all, I've been working since, I think it's September 4th. I think September 4th was my last day off since today, October 4th. Which is my first actual day off that I didn't pick up a shift. So, crazy stuff, right? I told y'all, I've been on my grind. Y'all have an amazing rest of your day. I appreciate y'all for coming by. And we got a lot more shit coming, so stay tuned, man. Go check out the BdayReacts channel. It's going to be fire. It's going to be fire.